that beat probably took me like about an hour and a half, 2 hours, you know, maybe 3 hours if I was perfecting the mix, you know what I'm saying? It's just some cool shit. I just tried to make some shit that was a little had a little energy. It's actually a spin-off of this track I did with Meek Mill and Lil Wayne called Terrorist. And normally I would send it off to my guy, have him put a hook on it so that we have a completed vibe. And then from there, you know, you got the song. Trust me when I say rappers fuck with songs more than they fuck with beats, 100%. So with the Fat Joe, I don't know if y'all heard this joint, but man, the sound sucks in here. We got no levels, like we can't make this shit knock. There, that's better. So y'all probably heard that on the radio. If not, one day you will. It's number 10 on the urban charts, though. So this one right here, I took this very familiar sample. Tupac used it. Biggie used it. Tupac used it for Hit 'Em Up. Biggie used it for Get Money. Maybe I think Get Money remix. Shit, it's been sampled probably like 100 times, to be honest with you. This is Dennis Edwards, Don't Look Any Further, in case y'all wanna fuck around and try this at home. So basically, I took that sound right there. I made this whole beat on Pro Tools, by the way. Like, this was like nothing else but Pro Tools. I just go here, boom, go to reverse, boom, render that. And what I did was, this is 4 bars right here, so I reversed 4 bars at a time. So that's how you get that. Not every sample works like that, by the way, but like, this just so happened to vibe reversed. You know what I'm saying? So once I reversed that, I did every 4 bars of the pieces that I wanted. Then Joe was like bugging, cause like, he was like, yo, I need that soul vocal up. That soul vocal's like, I need that shit. This is impossible. You can't EQ that soul vocal any louder. It just doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? So I had my mans go do a soul vocal for me. And what I did was, so I reversed them. I had them do both 4-bar measures that I needed, and then I reversed them so that he could sound like the sample. You know what I'm saying? So now I can make him as loud as I want. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta have that option. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially when the artist is requesting, like, yo, do this, do that. So to add to what I did here, this is the 4-bar loop with just the music, which actually is with just the sample actually. So if you look here, I have 2 different versions here. This one right here almost makes the sample sound padded out. It's just with EQ, just take the high end out. Just gives it a little extra fullness to the song, like when you double up the sample. So this one's a little more thin. I ran through a filter freak, fuzz box, EQ, reverb, always stereo. I always stereo at every sample. So we got that, boom. Then my man's added a pad. My man's Tariq, producer I signed out of Paris, France. He added this pad, just a little vibe there. And then we got this reverse open. which I like kind of freaked with like, I think I used like a crystallizer to like swing it a little more and then add this delay, this like extra, I don't know, just does some bugged out stereo delays to it. It's just a plug-in crystallizer. You gotta find it though, like which particular one I used, I have no clue. You know, then the basic stuff, you got your kicks, you got your hi-hats, you know, all that good stuff that makes the beat. You know, I don't think we need to go through that too much. By the way, this is a good little extra note here. So this bass line, we tried to make it like Paid in Full, which was like also I think sampled this record. So we basically, like, Joe's theory was like, within this hit, let's make 3 hits within the hit. That's how you make a hit. And I was like, shit, that sounds good to me. So I kind of been using that theory. It actually works. You should try it. So basically, if you listen to this beat without Joe even on it, automatically you're thinking familiar. Tupac, Hit 'Em Up. You're thinking Biggie Smalls. If you guys listen to this, I don't know how old y'all are, but back in the day, there was a record called Hit 'Em Up, Tupac, and Biggie Smalls, aka Notorious Big, had a record called Get Money Remix with Junior Mafia.
Get money.
All right, and for the real old heads, Eric B. and Rakim, Paid in Full. Baseline. Try to copy it a little bit. Not all the way, just a little bit. Give it a little something. So, you know, then we got hi-hats and shit. The ill shit that people actually like always comment about to me is the filter section. And basically like, it's all, I creatively made this filter to where it's like filters running into filters. So it's like filters filtering a filter. So you get a filter freak and then filter freak it again. And then you'll get like a filter effect that nobody's got. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just different than running a automated high pass or low pass. Even though you could, if you're really intricate, you could do your own thing and like figure it out to where you do some creative shit, automating your shit. But like, you get a couple filters, do a couple EQ changes and do some cool shit. You'll end up with a pretty original effect like this, which I do to the drums. I actually have the drums in its own aux for this section here. There's a snare aux, and then we got a filter aux, which has the filter freak in there. Boom, filter freak 2. Use a little meta flanger. That always makes the music sound a little warped up and cool and shit. And then come up with this. So, all right, no lie though, Joe had me flip this sample. I wouldn't have touched it if it wasn't for Joe. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't like to touch very popular, multiple times, something sampled multiple times. I don't like to be like the 105th guy to sample it. Not really my cup of tea, but you know, I created the idea for Joe, but it was back to the theory that I said to make a record. It was when this happened.
All I know is how to keep it smooth, but good head on your shoulder, damn it's smooth. When you send a text, I get so excited. Yeah, I got a new flex and I think I like it. Yeah. All I know is how to keep it super clutch. Good head on your shoulders, damn it's smooth. When you send a text, I get so excited. Yeah, I got a new flex and I think I like it. Ooh yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, I got a new flex to the side. Yeah, I got a new flex and I'm so excited. Yeah, I got a new flex and I know I like it.
So once Dre wrote that hook, Joe lost his mind, went bananas. He was like, yo, we got a hit. Didn't stop telling me we had a hit for like 3 months. So I was like, all right, cool, let's, you know, do what we gotta do. Now the ill shit is that I made this beat in Pro Tools and the mixing engineer couldn't copy my mix. He just couldn't get it right. So Joe had to fly me to Miami to actually make sure my mix was exactly like it was in this Pro Tools session. That's the ill shit about Pro Tools. You're mixing it, you know, you fuck around and like have the finished product. And then notice how when Dre hit this part.
Ooh, yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, I got a new flex to the side. Yeah, got a new flex and I'm so excited. Yeah, got
it allowed him to make a B section to his hook. Not because I was like, yo, this is where the B section goes. It's because I format my tracks. When I send it out to somebody, I don't just give them a 4-bar loop with an intro and that's it, or an 8-bar loop. I actually like do changes. I try to set it up for bars. Like, so how this beat is right now is exactly how they had it and they rapped on it. And then, you know, of course, you know, when it's all said and done.
Pulled up in the big boy drop to the big boy yacht. Too many Paddock Philippe to make the big boys watch. Villa Suites in the Fendi Chateau. Now ask Big Meech what he know about Joe. I'm fly like yeah, get mines with Jay. Got every pretty bitch trying to ride my wave. Gotta have slim waist in the face shop day. Lay up in the crib and menage all day.
So, boom, you got a record. Shit is fire. Sample cleared. Little headache, but still cleared. Oh, Jay-Z actually wrote the bridge on this. Yeah, that was dope. So Jay-Z did that little bridge section. Yeah, that's that track. I mean, you know, this is briefly what I do, but a lot of it's just EQing and a lot of it's just like getting nice, you know, make your beat sound like a record, you know, make it sound like a real song. And I think that's the goal here, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool. If you can make beats in 20 minutes and that shit is fire and you make like 30, 40 beats in a week, that's dope. But me personally, I like to make like 2-3 beats a week and them shits last forever, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It's just my personal way of working. And you'll see you're actually working smarter, not harder, you know what I'm saying? When it's all said and done, you end up with like, oh, let me show you. I'll show you. Because I can. Yeah. Look. All right. So, had this computer since 2012, let's say. Yeah, I like it. I'm not gonna switch it. I'll switch it whenever. But let me see. Hold up. Boom. Yeah, I got a CD drive. I still burn CDs. That's the best way to hear your mix in the car on a CD, believe it or not. So just so y'all can see this, 855 tracks loaded into this library. And I could still pull up and play whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's heat all throughout this shit. It's all heat.
Play one.
Alright?
Do it.
Alright, I'm gonna play boom. Oh, hold up. Nah, I can't. He's gotta go. I gotta give him a chance to shine over there, you know?
We're gonna pass it along to Henny the Bizness.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing? All right. Well, sorry for being a little tardy. Can y'all hear me out there? Yeah. All right. Now you know when you're dealing with veterans like StreetRunner out here, I feel a little light with my equipment. But as y'all know, or if you don't know, for the last let's see here, 3 years I've been doing everything off this iPad Pro. Well, really just the iPad Air 2, and then the iPad Pro 12-inch, and now this new iPad 10.5-inch. And what I want to let y'all know is that, what a lot of people will tell you, it's never about the equipment, it's about the vision, it's about the leadership. And I'm not sure. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. All right, so I do not have the HDMI, but I will stand up so you might be able to get a glimpse of what I'm showing you. But this is the first track I'll play is a track I'm using this app called Beatmaker. Anybody heard of Beatmaker? Yeah. All right, so I've been using Beatmaker 3 for the last 2 months now. It's an incredible app, along with apps like Audio Share or Block Sway. There's a lot of great apps, even iMachine with native instruments. They're making some great things for iOS. And what I'm using is I'm using the cloud to import stuff through Dropbox. And I'm using, some of the sound kits that I've had forever. And I get busy. So last night, anybody heard of the young bull, Deontay Hitchcock? Yeah. Deontay Hitchcock. He's out here out of the West Side. He's dope. I was at his spot last night. And we came out with a jam. And so I'm going to show you how I put it together. Let me see if I can stand up. All right. Let's see what I got here. Also, see how long I can get this cable. There we go. I'm using this thing right here. It's called a FiiO, F-I-I-O A3. What it does is it's a headphone amp that you can plug into your iPhone, your laptop, whatever, to give you a lot more oomph out of your tracks. Let me see if I can play. There we go.
I need one of those. That's just dope.
Can you give me a little bit more volume?
The business.
Mm-hmm. Right? All right. Let's get going. So,
hold on. Where do they sell one of those? So we all know.
Oh, Amazon.com. It's about $50. That FiiO.
Good deal.
Let me give y'all the difference. This is with FiiO turned up, right? So we take the FiiO out. This is all the way up without the FiiO.
Get the fuck out of here.
With the FiiO?
That shit is real right there.
I'm trying to give y'all a little game real quick. Hold on. You see what I'm saying?
Shit.
So when you go into the studio and you plug up in that aux, you're plugging up with this, with your iPhone, with this, with your laptop. And I'm not bringing, my Duet or my Apogee or my, even my UAD Apollo or anything like that. I'm just bringing these two and I get no complaints. So, started out with these drums. Really what we were going for was like, I don't know if y'all remember Outkast's first album, Funky Ride. Yeah, so I was trying to go for that vibe. And started out with some drums. Hold on, I'm trying to see if I can do this. Now this is Beatmaker. It gives you, let's see. I know it's kind of hard to see, y'all, but we got everything that looks very similar to something like Logic, Pro Tools. Man, maybe I can air. Nah, it's all good. And it has 3 different modes. You have your pads. Oh, it's not. Am I up? Give me 1 second. That's all or something? Yeah, okay. You got your drums. You can break it into 64. You can break it into 16. Like with my hi-hats, I can do hi-hat rolls just by with any sound. Rolls, great sound effects, great mixing, all within Beatmaker. This is an app I've been loving. So I started with the drums and hold on, let me loop it. Let's see if I can loop this real quick. Hold on. Had those 2 pieces. I added a 808 underneath it. And so what I do is, if I have a bass, if I have an 808 and I have a kick drum, they all need their separation. So you have a slap bass that I had. I I rolled off the bottom end off that a little bit. Maybe, let's see here. I went to my slap bass. I don't know if y'all can see this, but if I go into effects, you can see I rolled off about 53 hertz right here. And when I went to my 808, I rolled off the top end. And off my kick, I just made sure that it punched through the middle and gave it some saturation. And so I usually do that when I'm adding multiple layers of low end. And I'll show you what all three sound like. But what we did last night is we had my man come in, we played live bass as well. Instead of my slap bass sounded like this. His live bass was more like this. You know what I mean? I add a kick back. And the 808. There's a lot going on, hold on. So if I feel like the live bass is a little bit too much, I'm gonna let me roll a little bit more of that low end off of it. Hold on one second. If I go to effects, you see it here, I'm at the live bass. I can roll off. Did that, added more instruments. Like I love to play with this keyboard right here. It's called the X Key Air. I don't know if anybody's heard of X Key. It's a portable Bluetooth keyboard. It's about $200, no latency. You see it's Bluetooth. I can easily go in here, go to my MIDI connecting to my X Key Air. I'm pretty much ready to go. Now I can play no wires, you know what I mean? No latency. So it works very well. I add that, start adding my piano. Let's see here. X Key Air, it's made by CME. What I do is I stack my piano and my Rhodes a lot. Add a pad. I had this wah guitar sample I added. All on the iPad. Hold on. Those are my two lead sounds. I have a lead synth and a lead guitar. So if I bring it all together, with the live bass, you're gonna hear something like, give me 1 second, what is solo here? These two pieces. One more time. And then when Deontay got on, I took this, I go here, I'll go to export. You can either export your tracks individually. If you want to, you can export the whole song as an AAC file. I hit start. Once I had it sequenced out, you know, like you said, you always want to make sure you have a full sequence track. You always want to make sure that you give as much to the artist as possible, because a lot of times you might not be there. And you want to make sure that you have the best representation of your track, regardless if they're going to use your sequence or not. Because a lot of times, like you said, they will follow your patterns. And when it gets to that point, you know that you did your job. You know that you did exactly what you needed to do. So I have an export now. I can go in here. This thing has a great file system where I can just go in here, go to exports, find the song that I was working on. That's my export. And what I did is shared it via AirDrop, or I emailed it to them, or I brought it into an app called Audio Share, which anybody got iOS device, who doesn't have an iOS device, either an iPad or iPhone? You should definitely get this app called Audio Share. Audio Share is an app that can allow you to bring all your sounds, all your drum kits, all your music, all your beats, your MP3s, all into one app. So as you can see, I have all my music in folders that I can easily scrub through, regardless if I'm on my iPad or my iPhone. It works the same. I can do that. I can email it. I can put it straight to SoundCloud. I can copy and paste it. I can do anything like that. I can even trim it or loop it if somebody's in a lab and there's like, yo, just play me the verse part again. I hit the loop button. And it's going to loop. And when you're in a system, when you're in a room where you're just trying to be exactly, keep the vibe going, it's an excellent app. And all you got to do is use your cloud, your iCloud, your Dropbox, import your sounds. I have all my drum kits, everything located in this app. And it's very easy to be able to organize your files.
Can you record vocals in that app too?
Yes, you can. So let me show you. When I brought in the vocals, I didn't record the vocals. We did the vocals in Logic at his setup. But I have his vocals here. Hold on, let me see if I can bring them back. Pinch the zoom. Here we go. So let me play it from the top here.
Oh, Audio Share?
Audio Share. Yeah, it's an app for iOS.
The business.
Hey, okay.
Hold on 1 second. About to make sure it's right. Oh, there we go. Here we go. These are his track vocals that I brought into an audio channel.
Hey, okay, I used to have an Android with a green bubble, she still hit me back right away. Left in the box like Cassius Clay, put on the track like Dr. Dre, put on the track like Tyson Gay, pussy feel like a tidal wave. Man on the moon, know the kid gon' get cut it whether it's night or day. 3-pointer, no Michael J. When I shoot my thumb, hey, I'm pulling up from the tongue. Set a Spotify late with my number, hey, that's where the Kendrick, I'm humble, get flipped like a tumble, be wetting some bums, get messed.
So you can see, you can bring your audio in there. You can actually record. I recorded the live bass inside of this app using something like a, hold on.
Apogee.
You can use Apogee. You can use, yep. Right on. So even something like this, it's called a Zoom U22. It's only 99 bucks. And you can record your mic, you can record your live bass, and you can even bring in your, like your, what you call it, any type of phone out. So it's like a stereo out right here. So you can actually, I've sampled from my iPhone into here, into that, if I'm using like YouTube or something, when you're trying to sample something. I've used in these two apps, so I can go anywhere. I'm on the plane, I'm on the go. I don't have to worry about having anything like with hard drive backups because I use the cloud and it backs up every night, so I'm never worried about hard drive failure. It's a lot, but I mean, when you get used to it, it'll change the game and change the way you create, and you could be taking a shit, making a beat, and everything works out all right. So, make sure you wash your hands. Yeah, for sure. That was crazy. Don't worry what the fuck I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, that's my process. That's what I've been doing for the last few years, and that's why I've created, a series called Adventures in Beat Making, where I am everywhere out with my children, with my family, with colleagues of mine, creating, collaborating. And that's something I do on YouTube every week, just to show people that you can be anywhere where you create, and you don't have to be stuck inside the studio, inside the box anymore. So that was just a taste of how I get down. Yes, sir.
So for the last 15 minutes of this session, we're just going to kind of, any questions you have for Street or Henny, we're going to take those now.
I wondered if you could, can you say those apps again that you said in the beginning?
Yeah. Okay. So
All the hardware and software.
got you. Turn me up a little bit more. 1 1 2 1 2 1. So I'm using right here. I'm using the iPad Pro. This is The biggest one you can get in the 10.5 version. This is a 512 gigabyte version of iPad Pro. The apps that I'm using, Beatmaker 3. One of the other apps that I'm using is Audio Share. And a crazy app that I use a lot of is called Blocks Wave. It's by Novation. And, if we had some time, I could show people how that works. But it's a very, very great way to take your loops and kind of give you the mind frame of Ableton, where you can take your loops, you change this pitch, you can change, the key, and it all stays in the right timing and everything like that. You can really get your ideas quick. And then this is the FIO, F-I-I-O A3. And this is the Zoom U22 and the CME X-Key Air. That's my bad.
F-I-I-O?
Yep.
Okay, is there similar technology for artists like rappers to where they can record on the iPad as well?
Yeah. I would suggest using anything like there's a program called Aria Pro, which is basically like iPad's version of Pro Tools, which is very good. It has fab filters and a lot of different effects where you can use that for vocals, or something like Cubasis. It's a Cubase version of their Cubase platform, Cubasis 2. And so you can bring in, I've been in places, hotel rooms, things like that, where we just loaded up something like an Apogee mic, or, just loading one of these mics, the SM57, into one of these, into your iPad, and you're creating vocals on the fly and getting really good quality. So, yeah.
Okay, so Aria, that's A-R-I-A?
A-U-R-I-A, Pro. Yep.
StreetRunner. I saw that you made your own suite. Do you make your own drums as well? And if so, what do you?
Oh yeah, everything. I don't use other producers' drum kits. I've been digging for sounds for since 1998. So I got a mean record collection. I get drum breaks from records. I get especially when you hear like tracks like Meek Mill's Shine or Rick Ross's Lamborghini Doors. Like those are drum breaks that I flip and change up and do what I do to them. But that's nobody's kit. Like I don't just touch anybody's kit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm so dead set on having my own sound. You know what I'm saying?
Right on.
When you make your own drums, though, what do you use? Do you use a program, or do you use an MPC, or?
No, Pro Tools. You just load it in Pro Tools. You could cut up kits through Pro Tools. Of course, like, there's standard like trap kits and stuff like that. You gotta have those. Trap kits from old 80s records. They don't sound as good as what today's trap kits sound like. So you always gotta have like your basic trap kit. But as far as kicks and snares that sound authentic and drum break-ish, or just got that soul to them, those are all like chopped up on Pro Tools. Some of them, like, it depends on the beat. If it's an older beat, it was done on the Akai MPC 2000 for me, but for the most part, it's Pro Tools. Pro Tools 10, by the way, or up, because before that, you couldn't do what I do with the drums.
Right on. Okay.
So you don't run into any sample issues when you pull in drum samples off of records?
You gotta flip them, you gotta pitch them, you gotta flip them, you gotta decapitate them, you gotta change the pattern, you gotta change the sound, EQ them differently. If you take the Honey Dippers or the Impeach the President drum break, and you just drop that on your track, you're gonna get nailed.
Yes,
There's some snares that you can't get away with, but like there's so many. Like if you dig deep enough, like especially like music like from Greece or Germany or France, or just around the world, there's drum breaks like psycho rock or psychedelic rock and old funk soul that nobody's ever even discovered. You know, you just find cool ass drum breaks, and a lot of it is EQ and the way you decapitate, chop, and add that verb to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Think up top and then there and then there.
What inspired you to make music?
Both of us? For me, I've been wanting to make music forever. Started out, you know, just listening to, I think it was Bell Bit DeVoe. Poison. I was probably 11, 12 years old, and I wanted to be Michael Bizness. So it was just one of those things where I was like, I don't know if all the artists make their own music and they do everything, but in my mind, being that young, I was like, you got to do it all. And so that was my approach to it. And, you know, the New Jack Swing has definitely been one of my biggest influences. And, you know, I don't stray too far away from it. And so I learned how to play keys a little bit. And, yeah, I've been producing for the last 17, 20 years now. So, yeah.
Yeah, mine was Wu-Tang Clan, Mobb Deep, and Gangstar. That's my influences. That's what made me want to like really jump into making beats.
Shout out Prodigy.
Yes, sir. I think right here.
I noticed that both of you guys had like knock the drums. Like, what is the sauce? Like, what do y'all use for plugging and making cutting?
Cutting through the mix. I think you don't realize that your ears get better with age. Like you just hear things more distinctively. And you just know a lot of it is it's like you said, it's filtering. It's knowing how to put the different sounds in each different frequency without making sure that they're too muddy. And I always wanted to make sure that all my sounds had a voice, you know. And so I always made sure that everything had its place and that you didn't do too much to it, you know. So sometimes subtraction is better than addition.
Yeah, if you want your kick to hit, just make sure it doesn't have a lot of low end to it. Make sure it's more of like a mid hit, so that it can punch through the speaker. Let your low end be your 808s and your bass lines. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't let when he says mud, to me, I think like too much low end on sounds that don't need low end. Yeah. That's what I think. If your mix is sounding muddy, you gotta get rid of all the low end that's unnecessary. Like even if it's like a piano chord, you know, take that low end out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Stay relevant in the game for so many years? Y'all have been in the game for quite some time right now. Like, y'all give us some advice on staying relevant to technology or just music styles and just different change of, you know, the type of music that's popular?
Man, it's one I know he could probably tell you as well. It's maintaining and building relationships. There's nothing more important in this game than relationships. And staying current and knowing exactly when to adapt, you know, and not get so stuck in your ways because it's forever changing. One of the main reasons for me for switching to this iPad platform was just to make sure that I made music as efficiently as possible, knowing that I'm a father, knowing that I'm a husband, knowing that I got a lot of other shit that I got going on, but there's 18, 19, 20-year-olds that can do this shit nonstop. How do you compete? You continue to build relationships with those that are a lot younger than you. You try to educate those that are a lot younger than you, and you give back as much as you try to get your shit going on. And man, the main thing is relationships. That's all I'd say.
Yeah, keep your ear to the streets. Listen to what's hot. Listen to what's going on. Always and then always visit. You know, just to hit a restart button. Go back to the 90s to listen to music, just to visit it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crucial, like, hear the new stuff, hear the old stuff, and anything in between, and just continue to just have all that knowledge, you know what I'm saying?
We got room for two more, so.
I think way in the back.
Way in the back, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to hear from the perspective of producers, how's your experience been with, like, using beat making, or, you know, electronic sounds and stuff with issues that we face, you know, putting those sounds together with live instrumentation?
It's musicianship. You know, the main thing you gotta, like, all this, whether it's electronic or it's live, it's still progressions, it's still arpeggiations, it's still chords, it's still drums, it's still things that, you know, make melody and make rhythm, you know, and so if you want different textures, you're going to have to use different sounds. And, you know, a lot of it is going to come from, you know, maybe using something like a sample that you flip or a live instrument that you bring into it. All of it is just taking your ear and understanding where your vision is going.
Yeah, I agree. With me personally, I just go with whatever the vibe is. Even if I get a piano, I try not to use such a like stiff electronic piano. Even if I have a musician playing a piano on a VST, I try to get the most authentic sounding piano as possible. You know what I'm saying? And then as far as live drums, I usually don't use those. I just do my own drums because, you know, it just sounds better in rap music. And then that's it, man. Just I personally just use a musician that can do all the string playing and all the piano playing in one shot. You know what I'm saying?
All right, we got one more. Right.
I want to know what kind of advice do you have for artists who are trying to venture into music production so they can work more cohesively with their producers? Because I have Logic, I have like one of those Bluetooth keyboards, and I'm trying to learn how to at least make a skeleton beat so I can work more cohesively with a producer.
So the question is, what
are you trying to be a beat maker and artist?
Not entirely.
Oh, okay, because I was gonna put you on the game.
Might as well.
Yeah. What you do is you make a hot ass beat, maybe get a producer under you, sign them. That's dope too. Have them put into your hot ass beat. Then you put a dope ass hook on it, and then you shop it. And then if your hook is dope enough, the artist will leave you on. Next thing you know, you're a featured artist. Next thing you know, you're featured on 2 albums, 3 albums, 4 albums, 5 albums. Next thing you know, who's this girl? She's on everything. Boom, drop your project.
Now, he said that knowing that you got to work your ass off.
Oh, yeah. That ain't easy.
Not like learn, like, I mean, honestly, you know, like you said, you know, get those. There's probably tons of people that everybody knows who, you know, are trying to do, maybe they're just trying to learn how to make tracks and they might have some good ideas. Maybe they know how to learn how to play an instrument and you continue to collaborate with them. And like you said, you keep building that catalog. And when you get those opportunities to play your music to, you know, for others, you might get a shot to stick on something, and next thing you know, like people are asking, who is that? Who's that person? And you got a shot.
All right, so that's it, man. If there's any more questions for these two, we'd be right outside.
You said me outside?
Go ahead.
Force it.
As a songwriter, I just wanted to know how could I possibly submit some hooks, like hook ideas to Schoolyard?